Hello, good evening. Welcome to another live Sunday night episode of the O&G StrikeZone. Bryan for
Kelvin. What kind of Sunday this is? What kind of Sunday this is?
Hey, the FAMU, we must be ready to talk about some real ish. If everybody come join the show at the beginning, right?
Right.
The internet seems to be working. Knock on wood. Everybody's in the building on time. We started a few minutes late just to make sure.
Hold on. We got some information for the people.
Yeah. All the feeds seem to be running right now. Man, God is good.
Amen. All the time.
All the time. Want to work out for us.
God is good.
Amen. Oh man. Hey, family. Thanks for joining the show tonight. We got a loaded show. We got a lot of things to talk about, a lot of things happening on the highest of 7 hills regarding FAMU. Coming up very shortly here in hour number 1, good friend of the program, Vaughn Wilson, FAMU Sports Hall of Famer, and, of course, HBCUGameDay.com. Vaughn's going to come in and join us, and we're going to talk about what's been happening on the highest of 7 hills. Of course, the big story revolving around the news with the FAMU football program's APR report and what that means for the start of the 2026 season. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about. I know, shout out to all the other, the Avengers who have been out doing their thing on a lot of other shows, Mr. Campbell, Keith, JP, Troy. I don't know if did the ladies of Fang Exchange have a show yesterday, or did I miss it?
I missed it if they did.
Okay, but the Avengers have been everywhere covering this story over the last 4 or 5 days. GT3 has been breaking off stories in people's tail, doing real journalism that we got to fight for Gerald to get credits out here, because
shout out to Gerald, man. Great job.
The social media folk, they just want to pile on and throw a graphic and a photo up and solicit. Anyway, let me stop before it's too early to get in trouble. But GT3's out there doing work as a journalist. #journalism still lives. That's why he's a 4-time award-winning journalist. So he's covering all the bases. We got all the bases. So
he is a rattler.
He is a rattler. No, exactly. He is a rattler. Shout out to everybody. Hey, Liv. What up, Liv? Good to see you.
What's up, Olivia?
Shout out to everybody. I'm going to just quickly throw in, I'll come up with the comments a little bit later. Normally we do the shout outs, but, in days and episodes when we got a lot of stuff to talk about, we're going to kind of fast forward a little bit past the shout out. So not that we, don't love you. We love you. We say hello to all of the folks watching on the YouTube channels, watching on the Facebook feeds, watching on Instagram, watching on Twitter. We probably got some other folks in the HBCU family because, they just want to know what FAMU's talking about. When FAMU does something, everybody wants to know. So hello to everybody. Be kind to each other in the chat room. I think I have the ability to block and boot or put people in timeout. I think I have that ability from over here, but we'll see. So, all right, let's jump right into it because late Friday. Now, I have always said, fellas, if you want to put a story out and you don't want anybody to talk about it or call your office phone, the best time to put a story out is Friday after 5 o'clock. It's the best time to put a story out because the weekend comes, maybe people will forget or at least their attention goes elsewhere. So, Going into the weekend, late Friday, Florida A&M posted the following news regarding what would be the official notification that the football program had received level 2 academic progress rate, that's APR, penalties from the NCAA for the 2026 football season, which include practice restrictions and ineligibility for postseason competition during the 2026 season. President Marva B. Johnson, JD, and the university leadership are committed to addressing the structural conditions that contributed to this outcome and to building the academic infrastructure our student athletes deserve. From President Johnson, she said, Florida A&M holds its student athletes to the same standard of excellence we hold every Rattler. These penalties reflect a failure of institutional infrastructure, not a failure of our student athletes. We are committed to building the academic support structure this program has long deserved, and this administration will be accountable for delivering it. We are fortunate to have tremendous partners in the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and the commissioner, Dr. Charles McClellan, has acted swiftly to provide support as we move forward. Also in the press release, we had comments from our Vice President and Director of Athletics, John F. Davis, who said, quote, we owe it to our student athletes and the Rattler community to be transparent about where we are and where we are going. The 4-year rolling average that produced this outcome includes a period of significant transition. That context does not excuse the results, and we are not here to make excuses. We are here to fix it. The 2026 season is an opportunity for this team to demonstrate its character, develop its culture under Coach Gray, and lay the foundation for years to come. I am already encouraged by the support of SWAC Commissioner Dr. Charles McClellan as we work through this together. And then last but not least, we hear from the head coach, from our head ball coach, Coach Quinn Fordham Gray Sr., who in the press release statement said the academics and football are not competing priorities in our program. They are the same priority. Every player on this roster knows the expectations. You handle your business in the classroom first. We have put the systems in place. Now it's about execution and accountability every single day. Our job is to build this program the right way on the field, in the classroom, and in the community. While this ban seems daunting, it does not take away our ability to continue to impact our student athletes' lives on and off the field and still work toward the ultimate goal of earning degrees. Now, that was the main quotes from the initial release. Now, Coach Gray had some additional comments which he made on social media on Sunday afternoon in a tweet where he essentially said, we have one job, turn disappointment into determination. Be intentional about being determined to change the narrative and not allow others' perceptions to become your permanent reality. There's a reason that God has placed us here at this moment, at this university with this group of people. Let's go to work. And I would assume that that comment came 48 hours after the news that most of Rattler Nation had learned. All right, so real quickly before we bring in Vaughn, well, no, you know what? I'll go ahead and bring in Vaughn, and then we say hello and welcome in Vaughn Wilson, FAMU Hall of Famer and HBCUGameDay.com. Vaughn, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, guys. Thanks for the opportunity to be on with you.
Definitely. So let's go around the horn, gentlemen. Let's first start with the initial press release, maybe just the initial news that came out. We'll start with you, Vaughn, and then we'll go around the horn, Marcus and Kelvin.
Well, unfortunately, I've seen that same response every time we've had an APR issue. What I want is a different result after the response.
Well said. Marcus?
Well, pretty much what Vaughn said. I mean, this is a saga that's been, and you'll see later on in our discussion, this has been going on for a while in terms of the cyclic nature of the APR. And we talked about this before, probably a couple of years ago when we had the UNC fiasco. And I know if we went back and looked at that show, we probably mentioned something briefly about how problematic and chronic it's been. So we just got to get it fixed. And it can't be a person problem. It can't be relied on by one person with expertise. It has to be a system implementation, and we have to address a systemic root cause, not a physical root cause or a human root cause.
Kelvin?
I think this is a good time for me to do a little bit of a rant. And so, first off, let me just give my spiel on APR, the concept of APR. This was established by the big boys in order to keep each other in Group of Five in check. But if you look, and we're going to show you all this information, but you look at since its inception, the impact, who is impacted most is FCS and its primarily HBCUs. So even though the intent was probably wasn't meant to disproportionately disenfranchise institutions of low resource and color, the reality of it is, the result is that it does. So in this age of NIL and transfers, the NCAA needs to rethink or do away with this model, number one, because there's a lot of flaws in it, first of all. But that being said, the rules are the rules, and we know the rules. And it is very disappointing that we continue to fall short. And I'm going to point out something that if you look at our press release, if you look at, I watched a lot of the other shows talk about it. I'm going to hop on the part of the APR that nobody ever really talks about. And because we always hear and everybody goes straight to academics. But there's 2 points. There's an academic point and there's a retention point. And I would argue we need to focus more on that retention point just as much, because all points matter.
Retention. What does that, in terms of this APR, what is the definition that's being used as retention?
In its simplest form, do your players stay with your team or are they transferred? If they don't come back the following year, you lose a point. Period.
Wow.
That's issue number one for me with the formula.
And how many Trent, Marcus, you kind of kept track of this, and Vaughn, you probably know this as well, but just roughly, what have our transfer numbers kind of looked like over the past couple seasons? A lot, I imagine. Over 40.
Probably 15 to 20. At least people that have declared on social media. We don't know if they came back because, things get kind of messy. And you only see some of the high-profile players when they announce they've signed somewhere else. But at least the last 2 or 3 years, at least a good 15 to 20 in terms of turnover, at least announcements. And I don't know, we'd have to look at the numbers to see who came back.
And the retention gets even more tricky because there's a grade point average that if they transfer and they have that grade point average, you don't lose a point. But with our tracking, who knows if we're losing a point that we don't even need to lose.
Absolutely. That's problem number one for retention for me and FAMU specifically, tracking.
I do want to point out, and I love this comment here by Hollow, because Hollow is 100% on this. The APR issue has seemed to have been a bugaboo for the football program. And all of our other sports, if I'm not mistaken, have all done either exceedingly well, and I mean like a perfect score 1,000, or have definitely been above it. I think it's been a long time since another program has teetered on being below, what is it, the 930? Is it 930 or 950?
You know, at one time around, what was it, 2012, it was 900. When it first started, it was 900. And then it moved to 930. But yes, it's been about since 2012, 13, and 14 since we've had other sports. Well, 2018 basketball had some sanctions because they couldn't, men's basketball and men's track. But essentially, yes, all the other sports have been doing astoundingly well. And football has, as you will see, only been over the 230, I think, 3 times ever.
Yeah, and let me tell you, I'm glad, I'm honored to be on with you guys, because I was listening backstage as y'all were coming on, and you all have done tremendous homework, and I knew coming on I was going to have to do homework as well to keep up with you guys today, and that's what you would expect for me to do, to come in with a different perspective. But it's very important that Kelvin mentioned going back, because I'll just say this. As I look back over and really, really research our APR, do you know the coach that was just really handicapped beyond anybody? It was Alex Wood. Alex Wood struggled, but my gosh, he had 1.5 hands tied behind his back. No spring practice, a day missed during the season, and 10% recruiting reductions. So the Alex Wood era may need to be looked at just a little different, because nobody had the obstacles that Alex Wood had back in 2015 and 2017 when he was there.
Yeah, Earl had it his last year also. Yeah, he had the practice reductions and scholarship reductions, etc. Yeah, that 2000, I would tell you that 2012 to 15. That's when we had multiple sports with APR issues. Yeah. That was definitely athletics as a whole roughest moment.
I'm glad that person with the comment was smart enough to understand that it's just football, because in the 220 quarterback club today, somebody asked Coach Jamie Shoup, how is baseball's APR? Baseball is fine. All the other sports are fine. We have thousands in 90s.
Yeah.
And several of our other athletes make the commissioner's all academic team. This
we don't talk about that enough.
Yeah, this recurring issue is specific to football.
Yeah.
So, and again, like I said, that the fact that all of these other sports do so well, that needs to be celebrated more. I'm just gonna say it. It needs to be celebrated more.
Agreed.
But before we get into explaining the APR, because I think still, sometimes whenever I hear APR, my head I'm like, oh my God, I'm still trying to figure out. Marcus did the math in a way. I mean, you guys are gonna love this, because Marcus did the math in a way that I'm like, man, this is the greatest thing
like the engineer he is.
Like the engineer he is. But before we get to that, I just want to quickly go around the horn, because especially Vaughn and Kelvin, you're in Tallahassee, you've been there, you've been, behind the curtain, so to speak. What is the issue that we have had for so long? It is systemic, but why? I guess that's the biggest question a lot of people have, and I'm sure a lot of people in the chats. Why has it been such a thorn or a red mark on the football program for so many years?
Go ahead, Vaughn.
Yeah, Vaughn.
Listen, I'm trying not to dominate. I got so much to say. I'm the guest, talk.
There's a reason why you the guest.
Yeah, you family here. This is like Cousin Vaughn coming in the house.
I won't say it's simple, but it's easy to pinpoint.
Yeah.
The turnover in athletics, as well as turnover at the president of the university. And the reason I say both of those is because there has not been an established protocol for academics and compliance that has been sustained, that is not dependent on the personnel there, but dependent on a system that can be repeated over and over, no matter if personnel change. Because that system is not in place, the turnover brings in a new system. Mm-hmm. And that system may work somewhere else, but at FAMU,
or no system at all.
Or no system at all.
Yeah.
And then the staffing. You know, we get into the promise of staffing. And I look back over the articles, and the promise of staffing repeats every single time. But here we are, and from what I understand, we're back to staffing issues in the academics and compliance area.
And I'm going to add context to what Vaughn said, and I'm going to use the time period that me and Vaughn actually were in athletics. All right, so when I came into the department, there was already, you know, we talk about the Adams Wood era. There was already sanctions, NCAA sanctions and it wasn't just football at that time. We brought in Kendra Green, someone who really knew compliance, the ultimate professional, and she was able to hire under John Eason, Desmond Johnson, and Contrell Kearney. Yeah. So we had 3 very seasoned people working in just athletic compliance, and we applied for one of those low resource NCAA grants, and then we're awarded that, and we did with that funds some extra staffing. We put more new equipment into the study areas for the athletes, and the compliance staff. And by the time that the NCAA, because when you own sanctions or when you've been cited, they do monitoring, what the NCAA call monitorings. And I can remember the last monitoring that they came, it was like we were very excited about everything that was done. We were removed from sanctions. That year, I think it was around 2018, was our first like 930, 931. And I can remember some things that were done was that we sought out some players who may have transferred or didn't quite finish, and use some money to have them to come back and finish up, because you can get what they call a delayed retention point. I think you can get back when people come back and recalculate your score. And so that was some of the strategy that was done. And I'm trying to think. I know Dr. Eason and the staff, they invested in guys who were still there and hadn't quite finished. Hey, come on, let's get you the courses you need and get you that degree. And we're able to recalculate some retention points. So those things have happened before, but as Vaughn pointed out, all of us left. And when that left, that supervision and that knowledge, it wasn't never institutionalized into the university itself, into the fabric of the university. Therefore, the results were different after we left. Is that pretty accurate, Vaughn?
That is absolutely accurate. That is the greatest example of what I just said about the failure, because it's not a system. It's just different people coming in at different times doing different things. Some of them worked, some of them didn't. Most of them didn't work.
No, I do have a question about that, but I don't want to get too far into that before we had the roundhouse discussion.
Is this a good point? I know, Vaughn, you had some things, and I know, Marcus, you got the presentation stuff that you have. Let me go to Vaughn, and maybe I don't know what the appropriate lead in is to the info you have, but if we just talk about the repetitive failures that we have seen, and we've mentioned about hearing the comments and talking about this over and over. What have you been able to unearth? What have you been able to sort of as you've gone back and looked at the history of this thing, what kind of things have sort of been head scratching to you that you've come across?
Well, if we look at the last time we had the bad academic ban with over 200 findings, what we found was it was more administrative than it was academic.
Right.
And from what I have ascertained again,
yep,
some of the issues with our current APR situation, unbeknownst to many people think, oh, the football players are not going to class and all the football players are flunking out. Absolutely not.
Right.
First off, on the front end, some of their advising has been lacking. So players are taking classes, doing good in the class, but it's not going toward their graduation, which is a penalty. You're working against yourself. You're going to this class, you're passing this class, but it's not because you haven't been advised properly. It's not going toward your progress toward graduation, which is a detriment academically.
Right.
So let's clear that up.
Yep.
This is not a case of all the football players failing their classes, not going to class. Another part of it is the reporting of it.
Yep.
Continuing to report. There is a lot of reporting and interactive reporting that has to be done with the NCAA. Who is doing that? As I look back and I printed out and wrote a lot of stuff to make sure I didn't forget, but there was one point where Tiffany Dawn Sykes, let me give her credit for something that she did, but who knows if it stayed. The problem we had with the North Carolina game in 2022 is the certifications weren't done until August.
Yep.
The certifications weren't done until August. That's why I was so delayed. Got to give Tiffany Dawn Sykes credit. She did certifications in June. As soon as the spring semester completed, she moved that clock up to June to start certifying. So the coach would know who needs to go to summer school, who no matter what will not be eligible in the fall. And you knew that information in June.
Yes.
But when is, since her departure, when is the certification? This is what Kelvin and I were referring to, and Marcus as well. A systematic way of doing this that no matter who's the president, who's the athletic director, who's the coach, those processes of NCAA compliance and academic advising are the same year after year. And until FAMU does that, every couple of years, we're going to come here and be having this conversation, pulling up these same numbers.
Yeah.
Which leads to, the point of saying when we talk about it from a university level and why it needs to be ingrained within the university, and that the hope is, as we hear the comments from President Johnson and AD Davis, that it holds true, that systems are being put in place. And from my sources and people that I've talked to, President Johnson is not happy, and that she is working very hard at making sure that these systems are put in place so that, almost like the quote says, or that she has stated, it never happens again on, regardless of who is, in what position within athletics or running the football program, that these kind of things don't happen. Marcus, let's go to the information you have, because I want to keep us moving in respect for time. So Marcus has done yeoman's work again here. Marcus Green, ladies and gentlemen, doing the APR analysis better than most people.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
Okay. I'm gonna brag on Marcus. All right, Marcus, walk us through your information here, because I'm not gonna try to lead and tell your presentation, and then we'll kind of react after that.
Yeah, he'll butcher it, Marcus.
Yes, exactly. So
no, I mean,
don't lean on me.
I mean, it's all information that we've collectively put together, just kind of put in a PowerPoint presentation. The majority of it's off the NCAA website, but the basic essence of the APR is to track academic eligibility and retention. And as Kelvin mentioned, and we get 2 points, 1 point for retention, 1 point towards progress towards a degree. And as we've found out, unfortunately, by experience, APR, multi-year APRs below 930 and previously at 900 could result in penalties in terms of reduced practice time, postseason ban, and the like. And also additional scrutiny, not only by the public, by the NCAA, and you may get some assistance, but also you're going to get the public relations hit. Next slide, please. So this, and I also used a little bit of AI assistance to pull things together. So this is a quick reference sheet, for anyone looking at, and sorry for the contrast is not enough between the orange and the white, but the APR formula as is given, points earned divided by points possible multiplied by 1,000. That's how we get our APR score. Point system, as we mentioned before, 1 point for staying enrolled, 1 point for academic eligibility, and good standing versus poor standing examples. Players remain enrolled and eligible, 2 points. Transfer in good standing, 1 point. Left in poor standing, 0 points. And some generic risk indicators that the AI pulled out, I guess, out of collective sources in terms of red, yellow, and green in terms of risk indicators, some theoretical coach responsibilities, and academic support workflow. And once again, I say theoretical because I can't testify that this is what FAMU is doing. I don't want to say FAMU is doing this or not doing that, but just in terms of what it pulled together, some things that you would expect would be in place. But I would imagine that it is, but I don't want to, have any liability by saying it is or isn't. Next slide, please. And this is the one I was hoping would go live, but this is an example. And actually have an Excel spreadsheet. If we could do it live, we could put in different numbers for the different categories. As you see, if we just use an imagined roster of 105, and I don't know to what degree in terms of, walk-ons counting and things of that nature. So just use the generic 105.
Only scholarship.
That's what I thought. Only scholarship players.
Only the ones that receive some sort of athletic funding, right?
Okay. And so that number may or may not be true, but just using it as a baseline, as like a total roster, you can see that if you have 10 players that left in good standing, 2 that left in poor standing, 92 retain in good standing, and 1 in poor standing, your number comes out to a 929. This is for the 1 year, the single year. This is not for the multi-year. But you can see as you move these numbers around that, if you have anything that's an outlier or extreme number in any of the negative categories, actually, I guess they're all, with the exception of retained in good standing, all of them, you can get a point deducted. So if a player leaves in good standing or in poor standing or is retained, there's a deduction of at least 1 point. So this is not to excuse the absence of a system and not to excuse the student athletes for accountability. But you can see that 92 in good standing, 10 left in good standing. So 102 out of the 105 players for this fictional team, we're doing okay. 3 players, and you had a 929 annual. Doesn't take much.
It doesn't. And
this is like a leftover example that the AI created. So, I mean, that's once again another example. They had, I forgot I think they had 5 players that left and 1 player, but whatever it was, it came out to a 947. So the 161 out of 170 total points were earned, and you get a score of API of 947. This slide, and sorry, it's a little bit of an eye chart. I was hoping the years would show up a little better, but this is actually our scores that Kelvin and I pulled from the NCAA.org website in terms of the single year APR, which is given by the green line. And I did not see a single year APR for 2004 through 2007. And I guess they started counting it then because that's the last number. We pulled all the reports. And the blue bars represent, go ahead, Kelvin.
No, I was just going to say, yeah, because APR really didn't start around 2004, and they didn't have multiple years those first few years.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they had to wait.
Yeah.
And so I guess for the first 4 years, that multi-year represents single year. But they have it listed as multi-year until they started getting the multi-year count. And the green line represents the single year APR. The blue bars represents the multi-year once they started counting those. And the orange bars represent the two high points in terms of the multi-year APR, where we were above that 930 limit. And single year, we see we had 950 in 2021-22, 940 in 2014 and 2015. And I don't know if there's an actual single year threshold, but it all compounds. So if you're not doing well, it'll result, in the 4-year rolling average. You'll see that.
So Marcus, just to take it to the year of 21-22, where we had an individual year of 950. At that point, though, the 4-year average was the 898, correct?
I believe so, yes. And that's another thing. Just like it lags like a year or so behind. So I was trying to match up everything because I was trying to do the numbers on my own, and I was like, I'm not getting the same number they're getting. So I'm not sure if I did it right. I probably did not.
No,
but just trying to.
I think
like
that
a lagging
950 would be. Yeah, I think the 950. Yeah, you're right. There's a lag, so I think that 950 would have been reflected on the next year.
Which you do see it go up the next year. Like if you do see the next 2 seasons,
correct,
the number does go up thanks to the 950 year.
Correct. And it still will be calculated into our multi-year next year also.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So yeah, it's like a 4-year look back. And I was trying to see how far back, in terms of, when things drop off, when they drop on, and the timing of when they issue reports. And I know they issued one last May or June. So I don't know. I guess the official report will probably, the timing this year. But just trying to understand that. And once again, not a compliance expert or anything like that. So I'm hoping I'm not getting any. Hope, Bryan, you don't catch any strays from people who are in the know with compliance and things. So just try to put some numbers, put some graphics or some information to it.
There you go.
Yeah, just put some information to it.
You know what Marcus's point is? Listening to Marcus go through all of this data, this absolutely shows what another problem is. You can't just insert somebody from the university in this position and have them to think they will understand this. Someone has to be with NCAA understanding of these numbers, how you manipulate these numbers, how you make them better, how you sustain them. You cannot just put a body in the seat. You have to put someone with exquisite knowledge of what all of these numbers, all of these calculations, all of these formulas mean.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, advisement is not advisement. University advisement is different from NCAA advisement. And I would tell you, and what Vaughn ain't saying is that that fight been had before, right? So is athletic advisement and can be a dumping ground for people or folks who want to get pay increases it takes people who actually know this stuff, and not one person, as Vaughn indicated. It takes a team of folks who understand this and committed to this, and therefore I would say athletics is better served when athletics is in charge of athletic advisement and compliance.
Mm-hmm. To your point, Kelvin, I guess the two things that came to mind, and I know you probably remember this, going back, MEAC fans, and I know I've mentioned this before, we had Lynn Thompson, we had a VIP forum where we would invite guests who weren't, supposedly on the forum, or like administrators or some things like that. And he told us when this was coming down, this was going to adversely and significantly impact HBCUs and low resource institutions. He told us when this legislation was in its formative stages, around 2002, when he had him and Lynn Thompson being the former Bethune-Cookman athletic director, longtime athletic director, and the numbers are showing it. And actually, there's a report, and I don't know if Bryan will get a chance to show it, that came out last May that has some of the NCAA stats that says that low resource institutions and HBCUs in particular are adversely impacted in make up a high percentage of the teams that are consistently under the 930 score.
And our suspension.
And that's not to make an excuse for it. Once again, this is not making an excuse, but when you look at the numbers, I mean, the numbers tell a story.
Yeah.
I should point out, as we see, this is the most up-to-date data up to the 23-24 year. 24-25 has not been issued. So Florida A&M's suspension, which actually is a year delayed because we had a waiver a year ago. In essence, had we not taken a waiver, last year would have, I mean, we know how last year went, but last year would have been the year in which we would have received the sanctions. I mean, we did, we didn't go to, we weren't, well, anyway. But because of, I couldn't figure out how to say it and make it sound good, but anyway.
Run it back.
We can't be on camera, Kelvin, man.
I thank you. Anyway, that's when we should have, I don't know what this year would look like had we took the hit last year, but anyway. So because we had the extension and we didn't get a second year, we didn't get an additional extension. That's why it happened this year. So we haven't seen what the reported numbers are from the single year of 24-25. And we don't know what the number is and how it's rising towards the 930. Again, the 4-year number has to be 930.
Mm-hmm. So I went down a rabbit hole. So I'll tell you.
There you go.
If last year was 1,000, based on the numbers we have already for the previous 3 years, we would only be at a 929.
Whew. Wow. Okay.
But if that does happen and there's a significant number increase, the NCAA will
absolutely
always, and they've done it to FAMU several times. The NCAA does not want us to do bad. They're actually pulling us along, hoping and praying that everything's done because they don't want to seem like the bad guys. If we were to have a great year, reported 24-25.
And a great year is 930 or better. We got to hit a 930.
Right.
That would show progress.
Yeah, show real progress and maybe systems in place that the team can sustain compliance. They'll immediately, and they've done it for FAMU several times. Helped us along. Oh, they're moving in the right direction. Let's help them out. But we can't keep just. I want to read a quote from Kofi after 2022. And this is what I say is the problem. Like when you read the statement from the presidents and I say, I heard it before. Listen to Kofi's response. I think that it's absolutely phenomenal that they're actually committed to building that department up to make sure our athletes are properly served. It not only serves the student athletes, but the coaches and the Rattler Nation at large as we care about the total athletic program. I feel secure knowing that VP Sykes is very experienced and comes with a strong compliance background. I feel there will be strong accountability in that area. Kofi's words are speaking to us in that the system was not put in place foolproof. That it would remain consistent. We do know that AD Sykes had a history and a background in compliance.
All right.
She was not even able to implement, even with the additional people that the president allotted with a staff of 12. We were told there was a staff of 12.
I remember that.
Full-time people to be working on athletics. And Tiffany actually said out of her mouth, the president has expanded the compliance staff. We now have 7 positions in compliance, and the other 5 were in academics. As far as I know, that might be the largest staff in Division I. What size is that staff now? How long did it stay at 12 people? Was it ever at 12 people?
Right.
I would say no.
Right.
This is the problem when we keep getting fed information like this and it never happens.
Well said. Marcus, you want to move forward here from the risk tier dashboard that you have?
Oh, sure. I mean, once again, this is kind of compiled. It's all theoretical. Just imagine, just a imaginary theoretical as it relates to, when to take action, what your action points are. And, just looking at the green, yellow, and red, in terms of maintain support, increasing monitoring, or intermediate and immediate intervention. It's a rough guideline. I'm not proposing. I'm not saying the FAMU doesn't have it. Once again, this was pulled together from AI, but it would seem to make sense. And one other aspect of it is that I happen to be an adjunct professor at a local university close to my house. And with all this stuff that they have now that we didn't have, like a Blackboard and Canvas and things that like monitor grades and all this other stuff, I know it's a lot more work, but it seems like it facilitates tracking and being able to detect declining performance. So I don't know how much, to what degree, and in what classes.
Well, I know the university has those. I know the university has those softwares also. Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't know, once again, how prolific it's been implemented at FAMU and how often it's being used. But just from the stuff I'm looking at, I'm like, gee whiz, this thing, tells you if someone, the last time they logged in, if it's, procrastination, if it's, all this other stuff. So it seems like there's some software, AI supported, and or just updated tracking and classroom tools that hopefully it allows for earlier tracking of declining performance. So I don't know, how all that plays into it as well, but it seems like it would be a lot easier than, coaches were knocking on doors or things like that and visiting teachers, which they can do, and it's their prerogative to do. But it seems like there's a lot more advanced software and tools that would give early indications of declining performance that might aid and abet making sure we have people on the right track.
And more, Marcus, you get into
this
monitoring workflow, just kind of your this and the let's see what else, the coach action. We'll go through these quickly because we're kind of running on time here.
And I'll just mention while you're showing those, Bryan, some strategies that other universities do. A lot of student athletes at other universities take online classes. They have an athletic only facility. So the compliance and the advisors and the student helpers and they're all in the same building. So they spend most of their time doing their online work and getting whatever support that they need. And then they go off to practice nutrition or weights or whatever else is going on. So that way it kind of keeps everybody in the loop and accessible. So I know we offer some online offerings, but we don't have the same amount of online offerings. And of course, we don't have an athletic only facility where everybody, we most of the folks are over in Gaithers, but that's away from Bragg and the field house. And I think some of the folks who doing the advising or ain't necessarily located in the building. So just all those things are strategies that can streamline this a little better. Mm-hmm. And I know Vaughn got something.
I'm looking at the comment from Lil Baby that says 12 people is for our athletes is 26 athletes per person. You think that's egregious? Multiply it with the number of people that are actually there, because it's not 12.
I was gonna say it had to be more per person. I mean,
I'm sure it's more than one person. I don't know the exact number, but I have just heard coaches saying the positions have been unfulfilled, unfilled, which means that rate that little baby's complaining about, it's actually it's significantly higher per advisor. And then another thing that has to happen, and this is a problem when you don't have a consistent system. You have to get the faculty to buy into it. They're not. It's not a part of their job.
Yes.
You have to get them to buy into it. Registrar, tag the athletes. The athletes are tagged in the system. There is a identifier on athletes in the system. You have to get a buy-in. You have to have a breakfast for all the faculty and deans and tell them how important it is for them to assist in helping these student athletes along. And some people say, well, that's extra. Well, student athletes do extra. They wake up 5 o'clock in the morning, go work out, go to class, then go to practice. On the weekends, they have games. Some of them during the week have games. Yes, they do. They are special because they have to go above and beyond. And that requires buy-in from the rest of the university. You want to see them do good on Saturday, help them during the week through Monday through Friday to make sure that they're on track to be successful.
And the only thing I add again is a lot of what we're talking about is on the academic side, but that retention tracking, I'm telling you, is equally as important. As you can see, if we have 13 kids who transfer and 2 or 3 transfer without being academically eligible, that puts you under the 930 by itself. So it don't take a whole lot just from the retention side. So just understanding before kids get in this portal and are leaving, we need to make sure we tracking that. And also, again, trying to get kids back on campus to make sure that we can get a point back for them graduating.
I know we'll talk about coming up later in the show. We'll talk about some of the other aspects of the APR news that a lot of based on articles that Gerald wrote over the last couple days as it relates to the roster. But Vaughn, as we kind of close this segment, I want to kind of give you an opportunity to kind of close this segment out and just what do you want to see happen? Solutions, next step. I'm just going to kind of turn it over to you and kind of give you a few minutes to just kind of close us up on this segment.
Oh, thank you. As I've said, and I've often said, and since November, I've said it this way. It's more embarrassing for FAMU not to hit the mark in academics than it is for us to lose the last play of the Florida Classic for our defensive backs being out of place, and we got a head coach who was a defensive back. I mean, you put all that together, that's the best way I can say it. Losing that game that way was embarrassing. But nothing is more embarrassing than the #1 public HBCU, and we have athletes that can't meet the NCAA requirements. It's not all on the athletes. It's systematic. FAMU must draw a line in the sand at some point and quit saying we're going to fix it and actually fix it so that year after year, students are advised in the proper classes to take. There's buy-in from the faculty so that they can be monitored during the year, because if you're waiting till the end of the year and the semester's over to evaluate how student athletes are doing, you have no ability to affect that. So that academic following part has to happen, and then make sure that the people are in place to properly report it to the NCAA. Until those 3 factors can become consistent, no matter who's the president, no matter who's the athletic director, and no matter who's the coach, we're still going to have a hit or miss in academics compliance.
With football.
With football,
absolutely. You got to remember, and I think the one thing is obvious, they have a lot more players than other sports. I think women track may have close to 30 something, Baseball has 35, I think. Men's track have 27, somewhere around there. But all the other sports have less numbers, so it's a lot more effort needed and a lot more resources needed toward football.
Vaughn, let people know where they can find you. You got any other stuff coming out later this week regarding any of this or other stuff?
No, I'm cruising right now, enjoying things that are happening. Looking forward to graduation in early May, seeing so many of the student athletes and people I've worked with along the way walk across that stage. That's a happy day for me. If anybody knows how important academics, watch me doing graduation. I'm all over the place, making sure, to capture the people that I know, because those student athletes, their families, that's the essence of what FAMU was formed for, to get these people across that stage. And so it's exciting to me. Even if I don't know anybody, I go to graduation, because if you love FAMU, you love to see those kids come across there, because you don't know if the next Will Packer is up there, or the next Common, or the next Takia Crystal is up there. So you can follow me, VR Wilson 52 on X, Vaughn R. Wilson on Facebook, and DJ H 2000 on Instagram. All of them are different, but if you put my name in, Vaughn Wilson, you'll find me. And guys, thanks again for having me on, and continue to do the great work that you do week in and week out, and great work for FAMU. And you know that anytime you ask me to come, it's not a yes or no. It's when you want me on.
Vaughn,
thank you, Vaughn.
We appreciate you, guys. Make sure to when you wherever you follow Vaughn, make sure you let him know you appreciate him taking some time out to come in. Very insightful stuff. Hopefully gave you guys out there a little more information. And we will continue the conversation a little bit later in the show. But coming up after the break, we're going to transition to the hardwood, get a chance to do a season recap with our head ball coach, our head men's basketball coach, Coach Charlie Ward, after the great season that our men's program had. So we look forward to talking to him. So you guys hang tight. And Vaughn, again, we appreciate your time tonight. You're watching the O&G StrikeZone right here on the Black College Sports Network. We'll be back in just a moment.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
When it comes to professional learning, teachers deserve better. From the leader in online learning, Stride brings you the Stride Professional Development Center, an on-demand library of mobile-friendly courses that gives teachers choice and flexibility, allowing them to learn anytime and anywhere. Our dynamic courses provide bite-sized learning and help educators advance their knowledge while also gaining professional development hours. It's time you take charge of your learning. Visit us today to get started.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
Rattler Nation, welcome back to the O&G StrikeZone. Bryan, Kelvin, Marcus, and it's a pleasure to be joined by none other than our head ball coach, or head men's basketball coach. I can't get it out right now. Coach Charlie Ward. Welcome back to the O&G, Coach. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing well. I appreciate you guys having me on, and once again, and look forward to having a good conversation. It was good to hear Vaughn, see Vaughn, and hear him as well. He's always a wealth of knowledge and information, and challenges, and all of the above. But always need people like him.
Yes,
indeed.
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed we do. Well, first off, I want to say congratulations. I think I can speak for the guys here on the 25-26 season. 11-7 conference record, 15-16 overall. Most wins I think we've had in SWAC play. The number 2 seed going into the tournament. And so, Coach, as you have kind of had a chance to decompress a little bit from the 25-26 season, what have been some of your biggest takeaways as you think back on the past season?
Well, I mean, it was definitely a whirlwind of emotions. You know, we had a lot of different streaks throughout the season, which is sometimes a good thing because that means you're consistent, and we were consistent throughout the year. We lost a lot in a row, we won a lot in a row, but through it all, you know, we were able to learn from each and every experience. And you know, it was definitely something when you look back when we were going through winning or losing streaks. You know, a lot of it was based around things that we could have done better to help the outcome. And it was I mean, we were doing the best we can what we had. What I mean by that is, you know, we put together our team in a short period of time. Some guys didn't even come to campus until they got here, and you know, it was based around a lot of relationships and trust. But one of the things I always talk about is, you know, once we all get here, we all chose to be here, and so since we all chose to be here, we got to find a way to work it out. And so we found a way to be able to work out, you know, all the different things that we needed through a lot of team bonding experiences on and off the court. We learned a lot about each other, how to hold each other accountable, knowing that we love each other, and, you know, working to put guys in the right spots, guys having to step up and make plays on both ends of the floor. And so we had all those things, you know, within the season. Had some close losses. I had some tough wins. You know, we were up and we gave away leads, and we were able to hang on. We had some great wins on the road in conference, and you know, in the tournament, we had a great win against Jackson State. They were down some guys, but we took advantage of that by playing well. And then we lost to Southern, who we beat twice at the buzzer. But all in all, you know, it was a great first year. A lot of foundation that we laid to be able to build upon. And so we're doing that now.
I think that was in I think it was the post-game press conference after the Southern loss. I think that was the thing that I really enjoyed hearing you talk about, that foundation that that was laid. And you did it with, I mean, how many, we have probably about, if I'm not mistaken, 5 or 6 guys who were in their last year of eligibility, if I'm not mistaken.
6.
6. Okay, 6. So in terms of laying that foundation, and as you move forward, what does that look like in the off season, in this spring? Because I know there's some time where you can work with guys or guys can get work in the gym in the spring before summer starts.
Well, one of our main things right now is we're working to make sure our guys finish academically strong, because in this off season, when you have that many guys, and we were talking about APR and we saw what football is going through, but every sport is fighting a good fight, to make sure that we finish strong academically, and we're in that same boat. So right now we're working to make sure guys, doing what they're supposed to do from an academic standpoint, and from a basketball standpoint, we're not doing much in the way of anything structural. They're getting with the strength and conditioning coach. The guys that's coming back, we currently have 3 guys that's coming back. Everyone else that was supposed to come back is either in the transfer portal or it's also the eligibility. So we're looking for a good team, some guys, that can help elevate where we were this year. We have a good idea what the SWAC looks like for the most part. Of course, it changes just like everybody else. Rosters change. So we'll be in the same boat as everyone else. But at this point, we're just trying to make sure everyone's eligible that's leaving. And those that's coming back, they're working towards their graduation or getting prepared for graduation, in a year or 2, or however long it takes.
Nice. Go ahead, Kelvin.
Coach, I know you don't make guarantees or promises other than I remember you saying that your players are going to play hard, and you was going to coach them up, and that's kind of how it played out, right? And that was good enough for a second place finish. But I'm interested in year 1 as a Division I basketball coach. What are some things that you learned or you picked up?
Coming from high school to college, the game is the game as far as X's and O's, those types of things, changing over to the halves as opposed to quarters. Traveling, we did travel. When I was in high school, I was the one that was doing most of the leg work outside of, some parents and what have you. One of the big major things was having a staff that can take on a lot of those responsibilities. And it got me to a point where I just could oversee, and just having a great staff like I have, they help do a lot of the legwork. And so that's the one major thing that I learned is, having staff that's full-time plays a big part in, just the flow of practice, the flow of travel, the flow of academics, because it doesn't just rely on one person. I had some help in high school as well, which, I divvied out some of those responsibilities. So it wasn't totally on me, but just having staff that was full-time was a big jump. I've been blessed to be able to coach some high-level players. I coached in the pros for a couple of years. The guys that I had in high school, a few of those guys were Power 5 guys. And then I was able to coach, USA basketball, where you see a lot of top-tier talent in college. So I got a chance to be around those type of players. And I have my own imagination and thought process about X's and O's and all the different things. So I had prepared myself for this moment. And so the transition wasn't such a big transition. And so I had been in a lot of situations. People knew that I had done a lot of things as far as being in pros and playing in college and those types of things. But throughout my journey, I've been around, professionals. I just hadn't been in the college space. And so I had to learn the detail, be a little bit more detailed in certain things with the guys, because the other team, they were very similar. They were going to be detailed. And so that was also another point, to be able to have college coaches on the staff, because there are some things that I may miss that they were able to catch and give feedback and also run. So it was just good to be able to have good quality coaches around me.
All right, thank you.
Go ahead, Marcus.
Good evening, Coach Ward. Thanks for jumping in with us. I guess kind of the tie-in what Kelvin asked earlier, or Kelvin and Bryan asked earlier. What was the biggest surprise learning you had for this season, and how will it carry over to next year? In terms of what you learned from it.
Well, I think just overall, the chemistry of the team, what you need in college, you get to kind of choose who you want to be on the team. Like I said, I was blessed at Florida High to be able to groom guys, talent. And so you knew they were going to be coming in the door. But now you get to kind of choose the guys that you want to go after and recruit and bring to the team. So understanding what you want and bringing that to the team is something that I know we were blessed last year just to put a group together, and we made it work. Really not having any insight outside of just watching some film and then having some guys come back and not really knowing their game and what their game was about. So we had to learn throughout that process over the course of the summer and the fall, and even leading up into the season. We were continuing to learn what guys like to do. And it won't be any different this year, but at least we know the type of guys we want based on the guys we had this year to help us get to where we were. And so just choosing wisely and working to put the right guys around each other that can help us be successful is something that I know we're learning now. And there's some things that, we didn't like about some of the habits that some of our guys had. So we're definitely going to be a little bit more disciplined in that area as well, and holding guys accountable, because in our exit meetings, there are certain things that guys said they didn't like. And so we're going to work to improve those areas.
Okay. Now, are you at liberty to say the 3 players that are returning?
As of right now, it's Antonio
Baker.
Yes, Antonio Baker, Miles DeLama, and Tuscan Anua.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Anua.
I was just looking at the roster of the guys, the 6 guys, the seniors who exhausted their eligibility, and I know Tyler Shirley got an opportunity to participate in the HBCU All-Star Game, which was also in Indianapolis, where the Final Four was, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe you had a chance to go up there.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about Tyler and that experience for him. And of course, I mean, those seniors, I mean, guys that we had the fortune of watching, guys like Jordan Chapman for a few years here at FAMU, Caleb Washington for a couple years, Micah Octave, Jaquan Sanders, we only saw for 1 year. But I'd like for you to kind of maybe mention, Tyler and his impact along with those seniors. And then what was your takeaway of going to the Final Four, and how does being in that environment and being able to trade, whether it be contacts, resources, ideas, as a mid-major program, what kind of things you took away from that experience?
Yeah, one of our sayings in the office is we're in the movie, and so we always want to be in the movie. I was blessed to be able to be asked to be on a panel at the NABC All-Star, at the NABC conference, talking about ethics in the program. And so that was a great blessing. And then to be able to, go to Coach Hamilton's luncheon as well and meet a lot of his coaching tree and friends, along with some other, breakout sessions. And then to be able to support Ty at the HBCU All-Star game, where he had a great showing for FAMU. I was very proud of him. Of course, he had some turnovers that we didn't like, but he had a good showing for himself, because one of the things I told him, this is time for him to put a good film out there with his play, because you never know who's in the stands or who's watching on TV. And he's trying to, go to the next level. And this is just another opportunity for him. And I think he did do a good job of taking advantage of it. And hopefully he's able to reap some of those benefits of having a good All-Star game along with his season. He was one of our leaders, him and Jordan Chapman, one of our leaders that we went to a lot on decisions. And, they were very good on the court and off the court. Michael Octave is a winner. Alabama State, they won the SWAC the year before, and then they won a game, an NCAA tournament. So his leadership he was more quiet, but he was a guy that when you look up, his impact was always felt in each and every game. Caleb Washington was a guy that we had to get the most out of. He had great talent, but we had to push him to the brink. He would play a lot, and then some games he wouldn't play a lot. And it was based around, the challenges that we gave him each and every game to be consistent with his effort and playing defense. And when he did that consistently, that's when we went to the next level. We won games, but, I told him, when you play well, you take us to another level. Yep. And he did. Once he played well and once he became consistent later in the season, that was something that you saw from him. And then Jaquan was Jaquan. I mean, he's a guy that played at high levels, and then came to us, and his talent was unmatched. He played with an injury all year, his foot injury. And he didn't make any excuses. He practiced 95% of the time. He had sometimes had to sit out of practice, but you couldn't tell, because in the games he showed up. There were some games where he didn't play as well, but when we needed him, he showed up and made plays. And his IQ, basketball IQ, and he's from New York, so he has a certain type of toughness to him, and so all those things were very, very valuable for us. And at the end of the day, having a guy like Jordan Chapman, just his mentality of doing whatever it took for the team to be successful. We lost a few games, and we were trying to figure out how we were going to shake up the lineup or who's going to take out. And he was just, his attitude towards, I'll do whatever it takes to win. We asked him to come off the bench. He comes off the bench, and the first game we put him on the bench. He comes in and he's like 5 for 5 for the 3-pointer.
Yep.
And so, it was just having that type of mentality on your team is what equates to winning. Where guys aren't concerned about, if I'm starting or coming off the bench or how many minutes I'm getting. We just tell them, when you get in there, play your best, and make it hard for the coaches to take you out. And so a lot of times, a lot of them did that, and some challenges on it, and some sat on the bench with us. But, at the end of the day, those 6 guys, were valuable to our deal. Leonard Taylor is in that 6. He didn't play as much as he would like, but the time that he did play, he gave some great minutes with energy. He knocked down a few shots here and there, but he played great defense when he got in there. And at the end of the year, he accepted his role of being a coach, a player coach, because he started talking to the guys when they come off the floor about things that he's seeing, and they kind of respected him for it. So, that's kind of what you want as a group. You want everyone to accept their role, even though they may not like their role, but you want them to accept it. And that's what you saw at the end of the year. And there's no coincidence that we won, at the end of the year.
I'm curious, and then I'll toss it to you, Kelvin. As you now go into this off season, and obviously as you were talking, you can be selective about who you want. The philosophy of, or let me change that word, because I've heard this from other coaches in this day and age where the portal is what it is, and the money is out there, and we know what we are at FAMU and all that. But I hear a lot of coaches talk about being able to get people that fit your program and what you want your program to be. Do you feel like you have a better grasp of what that is after this first year now, or maybe you did already have it, but you just kind of had to piece together what you could, and now I can really go and get my guys, or the kind of guys that I know are going to build this program and take this program into the heights that I want to take it?
Yeah, I mean, what it does for this year compared to last year is, we were scrambling just trying to put a team together, because around this time last year, we weren't even allowed to be in the building because I just gotten hired.
Right.
And then I was bringing on coaches, and we were meeting, off campus and doing all those types of things, doing the same thing we're doing now. But we also didn't have the necessary help. It was just really the coaches. This year we have basketball interns, helping us with, recruiting, trying to find, sleepers that's in the portal, JUCO, and even high school. And so it's a different makeup as well from that standpoint. And so we're just we know what we want and looking for compared to what we had this year. And there are a lot of great things we had this year, and we want to repeat some of those things. But at the end of the day, as I tell, we all got to improve, and regardless of who we bring in, they have to be willing to have the same makeup mindset that the guys that we had this year, and even better when it comes to being cohesive and doing what it takes to win at a higher level. And other part is, our coaching staff, we were piecing it together throughout the summer. When we can meet, but once we got guys on campus and start implementing drills and all these different types of things, we were piecing it together, trying to figure out, best practices for this group and learning one another as coaches. And so throughout the year, we were learning each other's styles, who does what well. And this year we have a better handle on that because we have a year together as well.
Nice. Go ahead, Kelvin.
I want to switch gears a little bit, Coach. I know you're very active in the community. You have a foundation, and you also have this athletic ranch that you're doing. I want you to kind of talk about why you're doing that, why it's important, and just talk about your foundation work.
Well, my wife and I, Tanja, we're co-founders of the Ward Family Foundation, and we've been doing we've been supporting youth character development through sports education and wellness programs and events throughout our journey as husband and wife. And we're going to be stable. We're looking to stay here in Tallahassee. And once we figured out that this is going to be our place, God gave us this vision to put together a youth and family sports education and wellness campus. We did basketball camps and events, as I mentioned, through our journey at different places, renting different places for the camps and renting different places for our events. And this is just our vehicle for our mission to be able to do the same thing here in town. And so it's a major project that God has given us. And we've been blessed to have some people come and join and partner with us. And we've also put together some partnerships to help with programs and services. People that's already doing the great work, we're just trying to bring them all to the Champions Ranch so that we can have a one-stop shop type of model. So it's not just about sports. We have a counseling center on the campus. Eventually, we'll have a physical therapy clinic there, and we have batting cages, indoor turf, some classroom spaces, some wellness partners, and some other. And the Boys and Girls Club will have a freestanding building that they will build at the Champions Ranch. So there are multiple partners that we're partnering with to bring these programs and services to the table. Eventually, we'll have courts. We have a court barn, and we're currently, if you're passing by, we're off of Capitol Circle between Woodville and Tram. We're currently clearing off land for our Phase 1A, which will be one multi-sport field, line sport field, a cafe with some program space in there, storage building, and then we'll be getting the pad-ready site for the other phases 1 and 2. So we're excited about it. I go by there every day to see how much they cleared off because it's been a 3-year journey getting to this point, and we've been able to raise close to $11 million through pledges and gifts from family, and we're working on raising another $9 million so we can get the indoor turf barn, which will have batting cages, and I mentioned the turf field that would be lined for soccer and any kind of indoor space, along with the counseling center and physical therapy, and looking for potentially a golf bay area as well in that building. So once we can get that 9 million raised after we finish the 11 million, we're close to that. We're at 10.8 so right now. So we're praying that we can get to 11 million, and then we can start getting prepared for the next raise. But God's been faithful through it all, and the whole thing around it is we want to build champions for life, and that's the goal behind it. We're doing it as a nonprofit because we want to be able to give back while making an impact on the lives of those that come, not just youth but adults as well.
That is awesome, Coach. That's why I wanted to ask that question. Let everybody who's listening hear that, and if they are so moved to help contributing for you to reach that goal, because the community absolutely needs it and appreciates the work that you're already doing, but you will do in the future.
Well, I appreciate it.
Go ahead, Marcus.
Coach Ward, I guess just to follow up on that, I guess the question that came on mind, once everything is fully operational, will there be opportunities to work with or provide opportunities for internships for those in the physical therapy degree programs or any others that would be able to provide the Tallahassee area college students real work experience?
So the Champions Ranch will be all of the above. You name it, you will have opportunities because we are a learning space. So one of the things we will do is tap into the physical therapy along with, coaches from, the young athletes who want maybe be coaches, referees, whatever it may be. There'll be learning opportunities to be able to mentor the college students. FSU, FAMU, and TSC will have a presence with some of the educational components that they'll bring for some of the programs as well. And so, yes, our goal is to have a mentorship type of program for certain areas that would be on campus, be on the Champions Ranch campus, that we can tap in to the FSU, FAMU, and TSC programs that they have, because there's a lot of students that may be psychologists that can be a part of it. We talk about the coaches, you talk about the physical therapy. There will be a number of things that we will need assistance that people can get some great experience from, because at the end of the day, we learn from somebody else. Somebody gave us a chance to be mentored by them. One of my mentors is Coach Jeff Van Gunn in the college space. He gave me an opportunity to be an intern with the Houston Rockets. My first year, I was retired, and that turned into where I am today. And so, that happens with all of us. Somebody's giving us a chance to be what we want to be, and we learn from them, and then we run with it. So that's our goal at the Champions Ranch as well.
Thank you.
Coach, I want to make mention of the team camp, the Charlie Ward basketball camps. Now, the team camp, the flyer that I've got there on the screen, June 5th through the 7th, assuming that is for primarily targeting high school team camps.
Correct.
Are there any other camps or any other information on camps that you want to share while you're with us, or how can we direct people to information on camps? I didn't find any other flyers that I had, but anything you want to talk on camps?
Well, our team camp will be June 5th through 7th. It's at Florida A&M, and it's for all teams. We will, I think, have a division for JV as well as varsity. And so we're looking forward to this. May be the first team camp I think FAMU's men's basketball has had. And so we're attempting to make this a good one. Coach Jared Lazarus, he did a great job at Florida State running their camps. And so we're looking to have that same type of success. And those that come to our camp will have a great experience at the end of the day. And we're looking forward to hopefully having around 70 teams. That's the goal, is to have around 70 teams that can come in and compete. And also, it's a chance for us to have talent come to campus, potential students as well, to come to see what Florida A&M has to offer, not just from a sports specific place, but academically as well. And we get so many emails from potential student athletes, and this is a great opportunity for us to be able to see those that want to showcase their talent, because we get emails about, I just need you to just see me. I'll drive down and come and work out for you guys. So this is a great opportunity for teams to come and showcase their talent while also, competing against other good quality teams.
Are you having plans to do? I know you've done camps with the Ward Foundation. Are you planning to do any other summer camps featuring like the younger ages, like the elementary, middle school age kids?
We're not going to do one specifically with that age. However, Coach Pressure our women's coach, they do a camp for the elementary age
Gotcha.
young people. I'm not sure what that date is, but I know they have one, and then we're looking at potentially having a elite camp later in the summer.
Okay. Nice. Now I've had a few people in the chat. They're loving the shirt, Coach. They're loving the shirt. Family matters. And we know that the FAMU Day of Giving begins tomorrow through the 17th. We know all of our programs have needs.
Yes.
So I want to get a floor and see. This is great promo. I love that Coach wears the shirt. See, so this Coach is a genius marketer here. So I couldn't leave this out without talking about the 1887 strikes, the Day of Giving, beginning tomorrow, April 16th, and whether it be for our men's basketball program, our athletic department in general, or just the university as a whole. It is a great opportunity for alumni, friends, and family to give back. So I want to get a floor to you, Coach, let you talk about whether it be specific needs or how people can donate specifically and contribute specifically to the men's basketball program, or if you want to talk about just athletics in general or whatever, I want to give you the floor.
Well, as you know, there are a lot of needs that we have at the school in general. But since I'm in athletics as well. And, the Day of Giving is something that this is my first time being a part of it. But the website is www.1887strikes.com. And that's with an S, strikes with an S. And tomorrow, our FAMU Foundation has put a competition out there that whichever program, whether it's athletics or academia, raises the most money during the window of 9 to 10 on both days, Thursday and Friday, they get a $5,000 bonus. So I'm asking all those that are listening. I know you may have some other people and maybe some other sports, but since we're all competitive, between 9 and 10, I'm asking that you go to the website, which you can go tonight, but it's not live tonight. And I'd like for you to donate. Go to athletics, hit the drop-down button that says men's basketball, and you can make your donation. Whether it's small or large, they all add up to the big number. And so we would love for you to donate from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. But you can donate at any time. But from between 9 and 10 a.m., we need everyone to donate for men's basketball. Since I'm promoting it, I want men's basketball to win. I mean, that's what we're in it for.
That's right.
There you go. I mean, we got you here on the show. So, I mean, we gotta, we love all our programs, but since we got you on the show right now, I mean, we got to talk about that 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. window, 1887strikes.com. There it is.
Yes.
That's good.
So Coach Quinn already blew everybody out the window with the strikes all in.
Yeah.
Deal. He already blew everybody out when it comes to how much you can raise, but we trying to win the small game.
Well said. Well said. Well said. Kelvin, Marcus, any last questions for Coach Ward before we close our segment and thank him for his time tonight?
No, I don't have any other questions. I just want to thank him, as you say, for giving us a piece of his time. I know he's busy, got a lot of things going on, and anytime we can get all of our coaches on and speak directly to Rattler Nation, and we appreciate it. We don't take it for granted.
I appreciate you guys having me on once again, and appreciate the work that you all do to promote our athletic department. I'll just say this, our athletic director, he's relatively new. He's working through a lot of concrete that's been built over the years.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's working to do a good job and making sure that we have the things we need. And hopefully we can get to a point where we're reliable again in the community, where people trust and they see the good work that the coaches are doing, what the administration is doing, what the athletic department is doing, and they be willing to give to help our student athletes.
Well said.
Well said, Coach. Well, we know that we have the right people, coaches like yourself. We got great coaches. We always talk about that in this show.
Yes.
That through all of the whatever stuff, we always keep telling people, look, FAMU got coaches. We got coaches.
Yes.
We have great coaches across the board, and we've got great young people that these coaches bring in. So we got your back, Coach. We know what you and the other coaches and the student athletes are out there doing, and we know it's coming together. It's gonna come together. We have faith, and so we appreciate your time. And again, everybody, make sure at 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. tomorrow, 1887strikes.com. That's, you know, men's basketball time. And, Coach, we look forward to talking with you again. Anytime those young people and those recruits, make sure they tag us at O&G StrikeZone, because, you know, we keep track of all the recruiting news. So we want to make sure that those people, you know, they'll get some love, and we'll let them know that, you know, this is the place to be. This is the program to be. So we'll let them know. Just tell them to tag us. We got you.
All right. I appreciate it.
All right, Coach.
All right,
Be well.
Coach.
Thanks again for your time tonight.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, have a good one.
All right. Good stuff. Coach Charlie Ward there. Again, 1887strikes.com. Again, the FAMU Day of Giving begins tomorrow. You can begin as early as 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Contribute men's basketball program right off the bat. So, you know, good stuff. Let's do this. Let's take a short break, come back, and I know we still got some stuff to talk about regarding the APR, but we've also got we got to hit up softball, baseball, men's golf. Wow, SWAC tournament just concluded. Women's tennis tournament begins
Friday.
Friday. Thank you. And I know track and field's got an event coming up down in Gainesville, and they're getting a little bit closer. Yeah, getting a little bit closer to the SWAC outdoor tournament championships. So hang tight. We'll be back in a short moment. You're watching the O&G Strike Zone right here on the Black College Sports Network. We'll be back in a moment.
From cancer care to accidental injuries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life. But with Globe Life Family Heritage, you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com. With over 25 years of serving communities, Dr. Beverly Eagles Rogers is here to help you and your family through difficult times. Dr. Beverly takes pride in Globe Life being one of the few companies that returns 100% of premiums to clients that stay healthy. So for more information, call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com.
And we have to fund our kids in these colleges, and we have to make sure our kids have seats in these colleges.
And what about HBCUs? You mentioned.
Absolutely. You got to fund them all, and you got to make sure they're properly funded. You know, the real reason why I went after Comcast and Charter, it didn't have anything to do with my cable networks. It didn't. What happened was a gentleman wanted to do the Black College Sports Network in partnership with the HBCUs. And Comcast did not accept it. And that would have made a lot of money for these black colleges.
Absolutely.
And it would have educated the Black College Sports Network. This is what he wanted to do. That would have educated a lot of black kids. And when they didn't do that, that's when I came off the bench and said, okay, I'm going to light you up like a Christmas tree. Okay? That was the real reason why I got into it, was when I saw what happened with the Black College Sports Network, which I don't own. I just knew.
Why didn't you buy it?
I just knew. I just knew that these black.
I like that talk.
Right? I knew that these black colleges were going to benefit, and these black kids were going to get the education that they deserved and not have to pay.
There's a shot. To right. Might be. It could be. Right field. Grand slam. What a shot. That's how you get hot, young fella.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do, and all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
Movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
All right. Welcome back to the O&G StrikeZone. Bryan, Kelvin, Marcus. Good to be back on with you again. Great interviews. Hopefully, you guys got a chance to catch Vaughn Wilson in hour number 1 of the show. A lot of good discussion there regarding the APR. And then, of course, at the top of hour 2 here, Coach Charlie Ward joined us. Appreciate everybody, your comments in the chat room. Appreciate you guys, and hit the thumbs up and the like button if you would for us. Yeah, good stuff. So a lot of stuff to talk about, guys. It's still going on. What direction you want to go? We still got some stuff to talk on regarding the APR and some
I
great
want to start with
from
baseball.
Oh, baseball. Specifically, you must be talking about that series that we had over the weekend in
we put
in the city
the
in
beat down. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that one. I tell you what, FAMU traveled to a little town in Mississippi called Jackson, and played a very interesting series. We won 2 out of the 3 games, especially the last 2. Game number 1,
a lot of touchdowns.
Hey, look, the game number 1 was a 5-4 loss in extra innings. Right? Very close ball game. A game that I don't think anyone look. If I'm not mistaken, we tied it up in the top of the 9th inning, 1-1. So that whole 4-5, that was runs being scored in the extra inning, for instance.
Yeah.
So then we come back on Saturday, and we defeat them 8-7 in another close game. And so we go into Sunday, and I didn't know what to expect in this game because this was a very strange game to me, guys, because there were moments when I watched I watched like bad base running at times, but then it was countered by just offense. I mean, they had some offense, we had some offense. I felt like there was never a moment when we couldn't score when we wanted to. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Did you get that same feeling? I felt like we could score whenever we want to, and I felt like no lead they had, and there were moments when I think they had a 3-run lead or a 2-run lead. Okay, I'm looking at the score. At the end of 4, we're down 7-5. And actually, at the end of 5, we're down 8-5. We're down 8-5 after 5 innings. And I'm watching the team, and I'm just like, man, we're down 8-5. How are we down 8-5? Well, we're down 8-5 because they got a kid on there who had hit like 3 homers in his. I mean, they had one kid who practically brought in all 8, at least 5 of those 8 runs off of like 3 homers. So we go to the top of the 6th inning. And then we just decided to run through them like we were playing a football game against a JV Pop Warner squad where we outscored them 14-0 in a inning, not a quarter, an inning, 14-0.
Yeah.
Right. Like you might see that and be like, damn. Let me see. I go and look at the box score, and it's just a litany of stuff. I'm just gonna run this down real fast. Watch how this runs. Willie Brown doubled down the line. Figueroa advanced to third. Miller scored. Caden Kresnick single to left. Willie Brown scored. Jose Figueroa scored. Jackson McKenzie homer scores. Campbell, Cruz, Kresnick. That's a grand slam, right? That's a grand slam. At that point, it was 12-8, and I'm thinking, wow, we're just up 4 runs. That's pretty doggone good, right? Oh, but we're not done. There's more. But you say, but wait, there's more. Willie Brown walks an RBI. Figueroa advances to second. Ethan Miller, the third. Monil the second. Kresnick comes back again, doubles down the right field line. Brown advances to third. Figueroa scored. Ethan Miller scored. Jay Campbell says, oh, I want some. He homers down the left field line. Kresnick scores. Brown scores. At that point, it's 19-8. We have scored 14 runs. And I swear, I think Rob J, who was announcing, it sounded like he was going to get a glove and go pitch because he was talking about his former baseball career. And I swear he had a glove in the box, and I thought he was going to go pitch himself because I think Jackson State might have ran out of pitchers. I don't know.
Oh, no doubt about it.
Going into the 7th.
And let me just say, I really enjoyed listening to those announcers. Oh, they were very knowledgeable, but they were damn entertaining too.
We're going to get to that in a second. Because that was very good. We're not done. I'm not done with the scoring though. So hold on. We decided that even though we're up 19-8, there's this little thing about the run rule. The run rule doesn't apply until the 7th inning. So Jackson State couldn't leave. I know they wanted to. They couldn't get off the field because guess what? You still had to come back for a 7th. And so we said, oh, hell, let's put up some more runs. We go ahead and put 4 more runs up in the 7th inning. 23-8. And then by then, they're able to say, no mas. And I mean, wave the white flag. How many guys had 3 or more hits? Let me see. Kresnick had 3 hits on 5 at-bats. Jay Campbell, 3 hits on 6 at-bats. Jackson McKenzie, 3 hits on 5 at-bats. Matthew Perez, 3 hits on 5 at-bats. Alex Monil, 3 hits on 5. I mean, that's just it's ridiculous. Campbell with a game high. Campbell and McKenzie both with 6 RBIs in the game.
Yeah. And JSU had a guy that was 4 for 4 going into that 7th inning. He had 3 home runs. And then we pitched him again, and I think he got a single.
Yeah. Tyree Reed.
And I was like, why are we pitching it to that dude?
Yeah, thank you. But I think that's the part that killed me, Kelvin. The whole stubbornness of the fact that we're still pitching to him because he's one guy, and I still think we can score whenever we want. But it was, by the time he hit the 3rd one, I kept saying, okay, this is our FAMU stubbornness right now. It's like ain't no one batter about to hit 4 home runs on us. We're gonna pitch to him a 4th time, and he got a single. And I was like, man, if that cat hits a 4th home run, I'm gonna be looking at everybody like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Why why do we continue to pitch this guy?
Yeah.
But anyway, shout out to I don't even know which pitcher or which pitchers pitched to him, but shout out to just the pitching staff for actually it was Jesus Campa, and then Jackson McKenzie. Those were the only two pitchers that we used in that game. As crazy as that sounds, they were the only two pitchers that we used. Campa, he gave up the 7-earned run, so he got those runs off of Campa. And I know Campa had to be like, I'm still pitching to him. There's no way I'm letting that one guy have this over me. And I mean, yeah, he took him yard 3 times. But back to your earlier point, Kelvin. I love Rob J, who he's the primary voice of Jackson State sports. And the coach who the field is named after,
Brady,
is in the box with him. And it sounded like I don't know if he's been doing it all season or maybe this was the first game, but they were entertaining as hell to listen to. They were great. They were great.
Shout out to JSU on that one. They awesome.
Man. Yeah. I tell you, I told you, I talked about one time the added benefits of having good play-by-play. You know, baseball is one of those sports where sometimes you have to veer to the left a little bit just to keep the conversation and keep the game entertaining. But then they found their way back to the game.
Yep.
And then, you know, they'd go left a little bit and then they find their way back to the game. You know, they were entertaining as heck. And I had always heard people talk about how entertaining and how Rob J, how good he is. And he really is. He is, I tell you, it's going to be hard. When I do my end of the year SWAC TV report, I mean, that crew, woo, they're going to be in the running because they do a good job.
Yes, they do.
They do a good job. So the Rattlers win is that our 5th series win of the year?
Yeah, we have not lost a series. We haven't lost
the series.
SWAC series.
Right. I heard Shoop say that at the 220 Club, which, by the way, go check that out. That was a great – I have to still go back and watch President Johnson when she was at the 220 Club last Wednesday. But I did watch Shoop today. Always a good conversation. I mean, you know, Shoop is – and he had Jay Campbell and Matthew Perez there. But Shoop was good. I mean, a great story about fear. That's all I'm gonna tell you. Go listen to that. I gotta steal that because I'm like, yo, that was awesome. But just go check it out. 220 Eddie Jackson 220 Quarterback Club. You can find it on YouTube or on Facebook. So the Rattlers come out of that series, and we go to Jacksonville yesterday. And we jump out to a 2-0 lead against North Florida in the very first inning, top of the first. And then, as Shoop had said, you know, we ended up giving up 11 runs from the 3rd all the way to the 8th inning.
At least we used 6 pitches, right? 6 or 7?
Yes, we used 4, 5, 6. Yep, we used 7 pitchers.
Yeah,
7 pitchers.
That's how he does. That's what we do in midweek games. Unlike our rival.
Oh, don't talk about it. No, we can. Yeah, this be the one time that you will hear me on the O&G give a shout out to my good friend Coach Johnny Hernandez and the BCU Wildcats for knocking off another SWAC opponent.
SEC opponent.
Another SEC opponent. Yeah, this time it was Florida, who we're familiar with Florida. We played Florida, you know, just like Bethune every year.
We should have beat them too.
We've gotten close. But last week they beat LSU on the road. This week they beat Florida on the road. Both teams were ranked inside of the top 20. Oh yeah, they spanked the crap out of them.
They scored 7 in that 7th inning. That was a game I watched too.
They had no answer. Florida had no answer in that game. But so our record of our record now sits at 17-17 overall. We are still 12-3 in conference, still tied for first place
and
with
that's
Bethune,
and
with
I
Texas
would say
Southern.
that's what our coach focuses on. He's like, we're one big league. He's not going to pitch any of his pitches during the midweek. He don't care about winning those. I mean, he want to win, but he's not.
Mm-hmm.
He just got a different. He just got a different philosophy. And sure enough, Bethune after next week, I think Bethune comes to Tallahassee, and that will kind of tell the tale of the tape in terms of probably who wins the SWAC.
Well, we still have the final 5. So now we head into the home stretch of the last 5 series. So we're now officially at the halfway point of the season. And so we have Valley, who let's not sleep. Valley in game number 1 of their series last week against Bethune, right? Here's Bethune on high after beating LSU. Mm-hmm. Valley beats Bethune in game 1 of that series.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. And so Bethune ended up winning 2 out of 3. But Valley, we can't sleep on this team this weekend. They're competitive. Game 1 is Friday, 5:00. It's Jackie Robinson tribute game. You guys have seen the black jerseys.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't download a picture. I'm a hypocrite. I always kind of poo-poo the black softball and baseball jerseys. I feel like sometimes we wear them too much, but I'm not gonna lie. The Jackie Robinson black baseball jerseys are hot. Those things are fire. I wish we were selling them, but anyway.
And for the players, that's their favorite jersey. The baseball team, they like their black jerseys.
I know. Look, I feel like we have so many good color combinations when I see us in the all green, the green and orange.
I love
the white,
the green pinstripes.
Yes, the green pinstripes are hot. Like softball the other day wearing the all white. Normally you don't see softball wearing all white. They look good. I mean, we have so many beautiful black. Sometimes I feel like it's feels like it's it should be a special occasion jersey, in my opinion. But that's just me. But you get the kids what the kids want. So anyway, 3-game series against Valley starts this weekend. And then next weekend is the rivalry weekend against Bethune. The only time we play them, it's in Tallahassee, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We'll shape. Again, you got to imagine Texas Southern is still going to be in the hunt. And that's,
But they got to play all of us, though.
Yes, they do. Because we play them at the end of the season. That's when we close the season out. But if you think about this, we have Texas Southern at home. We have Bethune at home. And we got Valley at home. So 3 of the last 5 series are all at home.
Yeah.
So good stuff. Softball, while we're talking about the Diamond. Softball.
Lost their first series.
Lost the first series to our good friend Coach P over there at Alabama State. You had a chance to go check that game out. That series out, right?
I saw 2. I saw 2 out of 3 of them, and they were all close for the most part, except for
1-run games.
We would have a bad inning, all right?
Okay,
where they'll get multiple on us, and we just found ways to stay in the game, but then on Saturday we didn't finish.
Mm-hmm.
And we made some uncharacteristic field errors that we normally wouldn't make. That kind of cost us. And I think in the first game we made a base running error late that led to an out and when with runners in scoring position. So we just didn't play clean, and to Alabama State's credit, they kept fighting, clawing, and scratching, and they were able to hold us to 3 runs. You know, at the beginning of the season, I told you if we get our marker is 5, right? When we get 5+, we usually win. So they were able to keep us keep us from coming in home enough to pull out those 2 games on Saturday. And I told Coach P, I texted her. I texted and told her congratulations, but don't beat us again.
We did win game 1 of the series 7-3 on Friday night, and then as Kelvin mentioned, we lost the doubleheader 5-3 in game 1, 8-3 in game 2, and like you said, that in game 2 we just had a bad inning or just like I
think it was the sixth inning.
6 run, 6 runs, 5 run. It's either 5 or 6 runs they scored in that inning.
Yeah, and that's after we had just tied it up in the bottom of the field.
Yeah. So then the midweek game for the ladies, they traveled over to Jacksonville. They too traveled to Jacksonville on Tuesday. Had a lead against Jacksonville University. Unfortunately, gave up 3 runs in the 6th. Well, we gave up 2 runs in the 6th, and the game-winning run was, I don't know if it was a homer, but it was a walk-off. A walk-off run was scored in the bottom of the 7th inning, and we ended up losing 6-5 to Jacksonville. So we had a 5-3 lead going into the bottom of the 6th. End up losing 6-5. It might be the first 3-game losing streak we've had all season, but we are still 23-17 overall, 14-4 in conference play, still sitting in first place in the division, controlling our own destiny right now.
Yeah.
We got Valley. The ladies travel out to Itabena,
which should be a sweep.
Should be. And then they have another midweek series at home on Tuesday, April 21st against Troy. So, and then that will lead. Huh?
Because I think a game got rained out a couple weeks ago.
It did?
I think so.
Yes, it did. March 31st. Yeah. It was up there at Troy. It was scheduled for Troy. So maybe, I don't know. You're right, Marcus. Yeah. So, but it looks like it's a home game for us, though.
Yeah, I think it was scheduled already as a home game, and I don't think they're making up the rained out one.
Yeah. Okay. And then we have the Jackson State series, which is the final series to close out the season.
Same weekend that we played Bethune too.
Hey, put it on the calendar, Nation. That's a great weekend to go to Tallahassee. Softball, baseball, Jackson State softball, the two-time SWAC champs. Of course, but they're all coming to Tallahassee. It's a great weekend to be up there. I'm working, trying to see what we can pull together and see if we can do something. Hang out on the hill is, that's Ashley kind of gave up with that name, so I'm gonna give her credit for that. So we're gonna try to see what we can do to kind of hang out on the hill for that Saturday, April 25th game, FAMU softball against Jackson State. And, I don't know. We'll have to try to figure out how we divide our time up between the baseball and the softball, right? I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. We'll have to talk about it. But make plans to be in Tallahassee April 24th through the 26th. I'm telling y'all now. Good weekend to come to Tallahassee for that contest. All right. SWAC Golf Men's Golf Tournament in Oxmoor Valley in Birmingham, Alabama concluded day 3 today. and we were
second.
that close to finishing as back-to-back SWAC golf champions. After we never, not after day 1 or 2. Pine Bluff was in the lead after day 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
I think Texas Southern after day
1.
They were second after day 2.
Yeah, they were second after day 2. We were in third. If you look at that score, man, how ugly. I mean, I don't know what to talk to Coach Rice and say, what the heck happened on. I mean, look, we were plus 11 and Arkansas Pine Bluff was plus 11. So, I mean, hell, it must have just been one of those days on the course. But that's kind of odd that both of us and shot a plus 11. And then
round 2. Yeah.
It was windy. I looked in for about 5 minutes today. It was windy today.
Yeah. So we ended up losing overall by 4 shots. 4 shots. And I don't know. The day 1 hurt us. I mean, we shot a plus 5 on day 1. Arkansas Pine Bluff was -1. You can see we were 2 strokes better than them on day 3. We were even with them on round 2. But that rough start on, I mean, look at what everybody else did pretty much on day 1. I mean, other than Alabama A&M, right? You can see Alabama A&M on day 1 shot a plus 7. And then, there we are shooting a plus 5. But it was that day 2, I don't know, like Marcus said, to win, but man, if we could have decreased that by just
2, right?
2 or 3 strokes, who knows? We would have, because they certainly finished even par, which, if I'm not mistaken, that was the highest score of day 3.
Yeah.
But
that's always so.
Looking at the player leaderboard, there you can see Emilio finished 3rd, +1 for the day. He was actually one of our best golfers that day. P. Vaboom. For lack of you can see he finished 5th. Sasha, not bad numbers, but I mean, if you look at it in totality, +1, +2, +1, I mean, that's not bad. But in comparison to what the other guys were shooting, it was only good for being tied for 6th. So yeah, I mean, it was just kind of one of those days where I'd say that's an uncharacteristic +5 by the Boom. One of our top golfers.
Yeah. Golf is a humbling game, buddy.
Oh, it is. It is. Well, if I'm not mistaken, I think what it does, it opens the door for us to go back once again and compete for an HBCU championship, because we won't be competing in the NCAAs.
Right. Yep.
So we'll look for that. Shout out to Coach Rice and the guys. They had been rolling. They came in, I think, having won like those 2 tournaments.
2 tournaments in a row.
Yeah.
TSU and the one in Alabama State, I think.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we'll kind of see what the next, the PGA Works is May 1st and May 2nd. So that'll be the last tournament. And again, we won that 2 years ago. And so let's see if we can end the season with another trophy, with another championship.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Tennis.
Fellas, tennis. Oh, yeah, sorry. Tennis.
5th seed. They'll be at the tennis championship in New Orleans SWAC championships in New Orleans.
Yeah, I wanted to see, could I find the bracket real quick, just in case somebody was curious about the bracket. I know it was on the SWAC website. Go ahead, continue on. Who else? What side of the bracket are we on while I try to find that, Kelvin?
I'm looking for it too because I don't recall. I just remember we were still sick. All right, here we go. Seedings. All right, so we will play number 4 Southern at 9:00 on April 17th. So the 4th and the 5th seed play. Jackson State is the 1 seed who went undefeated. They played Valley. It was the 8 seed. And the winner of our game, match 2, will play the winner. Will play Jackson State at 1 p.m. that same day. No, I'm sorry. It'll be the next day, 10 a.m. On April 18th.
We had a competitive match against Southern back on March 21st in Baton Rouge. We lost to them 3-4. So it took every woman. And so I'm sure we'll need them again. And when we beat Southern, who would we play after that?
Jackson State, the 1 seed.
Jackson State.
Okay. So we lost to them 2-4 back in September 28th. So, all right, the payback tour is on. Let's see what these young Rattlers are about. It's the payback tour.
Just like volleyball.
Yeah, hey, I hope nobody in the SWAC sleeps on FAMU women because they will strike you if you
just like tennis last year. That's
exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, that's the trend though, right there. Tennis started it, then volleyball came in, and let's see if tennis can run it back. You could probably say track and field too, because I think didn't we lose to like Alabama State the year before, and then turned around the next year and won.
Yeah, we won the indoor. Yeah.
Yeah. So hey, don't sleep. Well, good luck to the ladies in New Orleans. Any Rattlers who are out there, please, we want to encourage you to go visit, go support. And starts on Friday, so it should be good. You mentioned track and field. Track and field is down in Gainesville this weekend. Is that the Tom Jones?
Yes.
Is it Tom Jones or Bob Jones?
Some crazy name. I don't even know who it is.
I just came with the first thing. Yeah, it's the Tom Jones invite. There you go. I knew I read it somewhere, but I'm like, who's Bob Jones? Bob Jones. Anyway, Tom Jones. Who's Tom Jones, by the way? Somebody, I wasn't even looking up. Somebody online, tell me who ended up winning that Magic game. The Magic Sixers, probably the Sixers. So I know somebody else had it up on the second screen. Yeah, it was a close game, all the way throughout. But anyway. All right. You want to close up by kind of just mentioning a little bit from Gerald's articles that he wrote. I know a lot of people were buzzing about what these APR sanctions meant as it relates to the status of players. And Gerald did a great job of only following up with the NCAA, but the athletic department as well, to get some clarification on the rules. So the first article that Gerald wrote, I believe, was on Monday. And he spoke about the transfer loopholes because obviously the portal is closed. Mm-hmm. So I think the biggest question that a lot of people had, does the transfer portal reopen for FAMU football players? Well, no, it does not. But per his article, he says, but the NCAA says a pathway has been open for current players to be recruited by other teams. Making note of the fact that reading quote from the NCAA communications department that spoke to him, on approval by the Committee on Academics and Eligibility, an institution may contact a student athlete at another institution whose team is ineligible for postseason competition during the remaining seasons of the student athlete's eligibility due to the sanctions pursuant to the APR without obtaining authorization through the notification of transfer process. But as Gerald says, FAMU still has control because FAMU must be contacted by another school first before reaching out to players. And FAMU can also set reasoning guidelines, such as no recruiting during class time or limiting the timing/logistics. But FAMU cannot block the conversations entirely, only manage them. Another quote here from the NCAA: the student athletes institution must be notified of the recruitment and may establish reasonable restrictions related to the contact, provided such restrictions do not preclude the opportunity for the student athlete to discuss transfer possibilities with the other institution. Then Gerald did another article, which was, I love the way he pieced all this. I don't know whether I had to ask Gerald, did he intentionally plan it this way? Because if he did, this was genius. The next day, he comes out with an article, why FAMU football likely won't see portal exodus after NCAA ban. And I was like, what? What? And essentially, it points out that the transfer really only is applicable for students who are in their last year of eligibility or grad students. And I think he noted that that only applies to about 15 students, 15 guys on FAMU's roster. And in addition to that group, freshmen, sophomores, juniors, or any player with multiple years of eligibility cannot enter the transfer portal whatsoever. And there's this thing about a ghost transfer, and he gets into a great explanation of that. The NCAA levies fines on institutions. Now, unless you're a school that wants to pay these fines, I guess you can.
That's a new rule too. That's something they approved like a month ago.
Yeah, it's been less than a month. It's maybe been a couple weeks.
Okay, so
that's to cut down on. Yeah, it's to cut down on. Yeah, somebody withdrawing from school and then popping up at some other place to get around the portal window.
Right.
Now I think the first rule.
There was a case the first like that happened in Wisconsin, wasn't there?
Maybe
it was a kid it was a kid who went from like Wisconsin to Miami or something like that.
Yeah, I thought that was an NIL flag.
It might have been. There might have been some issues related to NIL, but
I think the other portion that Gerald mentioned in his article, which is great research, I think that's been existing about in terms of like of a team's on probation. You know that there may be some leeway for a player to leave if it's his or her last year. So yeah, that's something that it sounds familiar, but I think it's not. I think it's beyond this transfer portal era that we're in. But I think it's something that's been on the books, but I've never heard it applied like that. But it just sounds familiar. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if anybody looks at that loophole.
I'm sure there'll be a couple that may look, but I'll say this in terms of that part of it. luckily for FAMU is a destination institution. So a lot of our student athletes, FAMU was their first choice. And so they hear from FAMU. And the atmosphere, the culture is not changing. The excellent schedule that we have and the competition, your chance of the eyes to see you ain't changing. Having that FAMU degree and what it means ain't changing. The eye candy ain't changing. So and then we have a phenomenal staff that has come in, and so you won't see you typically don't see a lot of transfers when you got all those things going, and I don't think this would be too much different.
No,
you probably have a couple maybe, but that'd be it.
Yeah, I think the opportunity, while the opportunity to quote play for a championship, because based on the way this would go, FAMU could still have, so every game still counts in the SWAC. Okay. Even games that FAMU play. But the thing is, if FAMU were to win the East, let's say FAMU finishes with the best record in the East, it would be the team that came in second that would go to the SWAC championship game. Right? And that team would play the top seed from the West, and the winner of that game would, of course, go on to the Celebration Bowl. So all games count. They just don't lead anywhere at the end. So, playing FAMU, I don't know how, I can't worry about how other people feel about that. When we ruin your season, then we'll listen to people complain afterwards. Oh, that game shouldn't count, blah, blah, blah. Because that'll come after we beat people.
Well, we played the defending champions, South Carolina State. We played Tennessee State. Then we played.
Those are non-conference. Those are non-conference.
But I'm just saying, from a student athlete standpoint, of course, we play our traditional Division I program also. But we play the best, which we are accustomed to. So if we handle business and do what we need to do, regardless who played in the Celebration Bowl, we'll probably played and beat them. And that won't change.
Yeah. Great point. Gail says, well, I feel bad for definitely feel bad for QB1 as well. But I don't know. Look, I think he has an opportunity to do something great here. I mean, again, he's been a champion at the collegiate conference level. I know the SWAC is a little different, so I'm not going to compare. But it's not like he's unfamiliar with the taste of being undefeated and winning the championship. And so, it'll be interesting watching how other, I know how we're going to perceive ourselves. And I think we're still going to hold the standard. The standard is still going to be set high.
Mm-hmm.
That part I do love about Coach Gray, the messaging and everything I'm hearing. I'll be interested to watch what others around the SWAC, how they process it. Because they're the ones who are going to get bent out of shape when FAMU comes to their house.
Trollers going to troll.
Oh,
those,
yeah.
And those who are really interested in HBCU football, they're going to just take it for what it is. But you're absolutely right that if we start winning some games and knocking people off, people there'll probably be the minority, but there could be a minority few that in the SWAC that will complain.
You know where it'll come into play in November when those rankings and polls start coming around and people start possibly seeing a 6-1 or 7-1 FAMU, and that's when it'll start happening, when you start to see the angst from other people. How can y'all rank them X, Y, and Z, and they're not eligible to play?
Because you win it on the field, and the eligibility part ain't got nothing. Well, they are eligible, right? Games count. It's just that postseason. It just can't go to postseason, right?
Can't go to postseason.
So at the end of the day, the results gonna happen on the field like they do every year.
Looking through the SWAC, I think the only other time or the most recent football occurrence to this, I think, was people mentioned Jackson State had a similar situation. I got my guy HBC Overdrive in the room. Doc Holiday. Doc, didn't JSU deal with a similar APR related issue and how it affected? This was, I think, back in the 2018, 17, somewhere in there. And in terms of football, I know other people have talked about, or was that basketball? I'm trying to think when's the last time a football program was not eligible for postseason play. So some of our SWAC friends who are in the chat.
I mean, that won because Valley and
I'm not talking about I'm not talking about anybody who didn't have a shot, but somebody who people thought had a chance at winning and all of a sudden didn't. No, we're not talking about Valley Hollow. No, we know not unless you going back to the 80s.
In the MEAC we did it. 2000, what was that, 19 season? I think
that was the 2019 season. Yes, that was self-reported. Yes, we did that, and we beat North Carolina A&T that year. We technically won the MEAC. Had we not self-reported,
we did win it. We just
we won outright. We just couldn't.
They
didn't give us the trophy.
Right. It didn't count.
But the Black College Sports Network did recognize FAMU, though. That's all right, though. People still hate for that, though.
Yeah.
There just wasn't anybody better. I'm sorry. It just was what it was.
L is L.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. Okay. Anything else that we didn't cover that you wanted to mention, Marcus or Kelvin?
Well, we got an official signing today in women's basketball. Now I won't prolong it because it's getting past my bedtime. but yeah, Kristen Johnson made it official, I guess, today. I know Coach Pressure, I was listening to the interview from last week, said that she had signed in the fall. So I don't know if she signed in the fall or today she just had her ceremony. But Kristen Johnson out of Hazel Green High School, Class 6A champion, state champion, and awarded
Player of the Year too, right?
Player of the Year from the Alabama Sports Writers Association for Class 6A, and also first team All-State. Signed her paperwork. Actually, I was just copying the article as we were wrapping up and posting that. So, yeah, she signed today. That's the only one I've seen so far, but we did get a verbal commit last week. I want to say Friday. I'm not sure exactly what day. From Leah Sims. There's a JUCO transfer.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And she's coming from Costa something. I don't remember the name of the college, but it's like Costa Casa or something like that. She's from Arizona, but she playing JUCO in California. But there's a little bit of overlap. I think her freshman year at college was an overlap with Shania McCarthy, yeah. So they had like some overlap. And actually, in some of her commit photos, they were in a photo together. But there's a 1 year overlap.
Okay.
If you go to the Instagram, where she said she's committed.
Mm-hmm.
One of those, the photo gallery is her with Shania McCarthy. So they had some overlap. I want to say her freshman year and maybe Shania.
So they both went to the same junior college. Is that is that at the end of the day?
For at least for a year, yeah.
Okay.
I think she's at a different one now, but I think her freshman year at JUCO last year was Shania's sophomore year at the same college, and I think Leah Sims went to another JUCO. She transferred to another JUCO, but they did overlap.
So along with Lily Dang, so far she's got 3. And I know
she said she had
two high schools, right? Dang, which is what 6'3" center
6'4",
down in the Central Florida area.
Yep.
And then the girl who was a high school champion in the Metro Atlanta area.
Who's that?
I can't remember her name now. Or maybe
really?
So she has
that might
4?
be the 4th one. Yeah, she said she had 4 when I was listening to her interview last week, but I only had tracked 3. So if you know that, if you can track the name of the high school person from Atlanta, then that would be good. That would make up the 4.
And how many open spots? I think last week she told us she had
4.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. I'm still, just applauding the fact that our entire girls basketball program is coming back. I just
that is a very good sign.
Where we have been the last 3 to 4 years, constantly talking about, well, that number's gone. I mean, there were years where you're like rebuilding with 10 new girls. Help pressure. Coach Gordon's done that 2 of the last seasons, where she's practically had to bring in 9 to 10 new girls, and to be able to go into a summer with so many returners, God bless it, man. That's awesome, and it really, awesome. I can't even, and so we'll wait to see. Hollow's asking about the men's recruiting. I know Coach Ward said he's only got 3 returners. I mean, because he lost 6 seniors.
Yeah, he got 2 bigs and the one guard, that combo guard, Baker.
But I'm curious because there's some other
guys. I saw 2 of them that got in the portal.
Well, but that was Bolden and
Devere Palmer.
Palmer, of course, got hurt during the year. Bolden, we knew, but
when you look at the roster, that means the 2 freshmen must have entered the portals, because
right. That's what I'm thinking of, the 2 freshmen. I'm just on the name. Knowles, right, and Amir Rahman.
Yeah, and actually, he was just on an interview the other day. I sent that to you guys. He was on some kind of podcast.
But in the portal don't mean that they're not.
Yeah, they're just checking.
Unless they were told something.
I have to go back and look. I got to go check Liv's site to make sure that those. Obviously, Coach knows who's coming back or not, but maybe Coach was giving us a hint that he was. Because they did have exit interview. The portal doesn't close until when does the basketball portal close? Is it
24 or 26 somewhere? Somewhere next week. Sometime next week is all I know. I think it's next Friday.
So maybe he was ahead of himself. I don't know. But a lot of opportunities to bring in guys. Upwards of eight players. That's big. That's a lot of opportunities to bring in the right.
It's not a big surprise given the landscape. And what is it? Four SWAC schools that they're gonna have new coaches, and I know all the players who returning. A lot of them are in the portal already. So, yeah, just the way it is with men's basketball right now.
We got new coach at Jackson State, new coach Alabama State, new coach at Texas Southern, yet to be named, new coach at Valley. So that's a third of the league will have new coaches. So, it's always changeover. I think last year there were 4 coaches. So it's, welcome to life in the mid majors.
Alabama State did what I figured they would do.
Make sure to tune in Sunday night. We may have a special guest joining the show Sunday night. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, since we doing the close up, our guest list is completed as of right now for next week. I'm not going to name the names, but you definitely want to watch because we may have a first time appearance on the O&G along with a couple of head ball coaches actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
a couple. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I know we talked about one offline.
Yeah. We got Coach Rice locked in too.
Oh, wow. Okay. Woo! Loaded show. Loaded show. All right. Well, that's gonna be fun. You got to tune in, little baby. You got to tune in.
Ain't bad guess though. It ain't a bad guess.
No, not a bad guess in the bunch. Not a bad guess in the bunch. Okay, folks. I want to encourage you to go check out the BCSN Pod Zone everywhere that you listen to podcasts. All the shows that are part of the Black College Sports Networks. Our show, Dr. Kenyatta Cavill's HBCU Sports Lab, the Carlos Brown Show, the BCSN Sports Wrap. All of the shows that appear on the network on the BCSN Pod Zone everywhere that you listen to podcasts, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. BCSN Pod Zone. You see the links at the top to make sure you're following the channel. Hit the thumbs up and the like button. If you want to donate, you can hit the Cash App symbol right there. Or if you're on the JBN online, go ahead and hit the Super Chat. You can drop a dime or two in there as well. Or you can even join the channel and be a part of the BCSN YouTube family. That's going to do it for tonight's show. Got to thank Vaughn Wilson for joining us. Got to thank Coach Charlie Ward for joining us as well. When you see him on social media, make sure you let them know you enjoyed their conversation. Appreciate them coming on to O&G. That helps keep the guests coming back from, in the future because they know that you guys listen and you support. Share the show with the family. We got to keep growing. We need more followers on the social media handle. So we got a lot of living active alumni, and we need our numbers to drive up. So those of you, the loyal O&G StrikeZone family, make sure to go ahead and share the show and let people know that they need to follow. So thank you all, everybody, for joining the show tonight. Appreciate everybody in the chat for tuning in whenever you did. And if you're watching us on replay, we appreciate you. Never too late to hit the thumbs up and the like button. For Marcus Green and Kelvin Rozier, I'm Bryan Fulford. Thanks for watching tonight. Fangs up, Rattlers. And let's make sure to strike, and strike again. God bless everybody.
Thank you.